Psychologists tell us that we are products of our past. Our parents and families, our education, and our experience shape who we are today. So our past can be a springboard into the future. If you teach a child the alphabet, soon that child can read. If you get yourself a good education, it can lead to a promising career. And even past failures can be a resource for new insights and opportunities. But sometimes we can be held back by our past. Sometimes the past can act like a chain that is tied to our ankle and bolted down to a past event or experience. And every time we try to move forward and become who Christ wants us to be, the past pulls us back. You may be tied down by a long-standing, distorted image of yourself, or a false image of God. You may be tied down by a destructive habit, or by sorrow, or fear, or a very narrow view of life. And all of us suffer to some degree from the I, me, mine syndrome that wants to make everything about me. Well, whatever it is, Jesus' message to you today is the following. Don't let your past hold you back. Step into your future with Christ. And this is what today's gospel is about. In the gospel, Jesus stands in the midst of the upper room with the terrified disciples. And that story is framed by the story of Mary Magdalene at the tomb and Thomas doubting that Jesus had been raised from the dead. And if you look at Mary and the disciples and Thomas, they were all stuck in the past while Jesus has been raised and has gone into God's future. Mary is standing by the tomb, overwhelmed with grief, and she wants to cling to the Jesus she knew before he died. The disciples are locked in that upper room and locked in fear. And then there's Thomas, stuck in the very narrow confines of his own assumptions. And the risen Jesus appears to each of them. He appears to Mary, the disciples, and Thomas. And watch what he does for them. He frees them from their past and invites them to live from him and his resurrection. He invites them to become a new creation. Jesus appears to Mary and frees her from her sorrow, turns her to an apostle, and sends her out to testify to the resurrection. Jesus invites Thomas to abandon his narrow thinking and become a believer. And then Jesus stood in the midst of the terrified apostles, and his very presence freed them from their fear, filled them with joy. He offers them the shalom or the peace of God. And then he fills them with the very power that raised him from the dead. He offers them to be the new people of God, marked by his peace and his forgiveness. His message to his disciples was, let go of the past. Come, step with me into your future. And that's the good news Jesus has for us today. The risen Lord wants to free us from whatever it is in our past that is holding us back from being who he wants us to be. And he may do this through your therapist. Well, God bless your therapist. He may do it through your spouse or your child. Or he may do it through your own decision to make a change in your life. So the question this morning is, are you ready to be set free? Now, the answer is yes. You can say yes. Oh, come on, let's hear a louder response than that. This is Easter. That's better. That's better. And I have more good news for you. Not only does he want to set you free, but right now, the Lord is standing in our midst. And he beckons each of us to come to him, to live with him and through him and in him. Listen as he offers us and offers you the peace of God. And allow that peace to fill your mind and fill your heart, to reconcile relationships past and present. And now, let Jesus breathe on you. Let him breathe on you and into you the Spirit of God. And let that Spirit and power of God give you a new mind and a new heart, a mind like his and a heart like his. You see, what Jesus did in the upper room 2,000 years ago, he wants to do here with us every time we gather. He wants to create us into the new people of God, the new community of peace and forgiveness. And we can be that community. We can be the people who live from and in his resurrection. We can be the people who know his presence, his peace, and offer his forgiveness to others. So Jesus' message to us on the second Sunday of Easter is, let go of whatever holds you back. Step into the future that he has for you. Happy Easter, everybody.